Alright, I've been using this Hikoki framer for a few months now, and I think it's time to make a review on this. With this battery gun, I think there's three main things, well probably four main things we want to talk about. The first one, the most important one, is being the battery. We want to talk about the battery endurance, how long it lasts, and how powerful this gun is with the 18-volt battery power. The second thing that comes to mind with the battery tool is its weight. A lot of the battery tools have that fine line of being light enough to use but not powerful, or powerful enough but too heavy. The third thing we're going to talk about is the teeth of the gun and its skewing capabilities. And the fourth thing is the misfires. So starting with the battery, this is Hikoki's 18-volt and also 36-volt battery. The frame is just an 18-volt tool, so the battery operates at 18 volt. But Hikoki also have a 36 volt range of tools, and this battery works for those tools. For the amp hours, it's a 2.5 amp battery when it's running at 36 volt. For the gun though, 18 volt tools, it runs at 5.0 amp hours. So the first question I had to ask is how many nails can this gun shoot before the battery dies? So obviously we're starting with a fully charged battery. These batteries are only a few months old too, so they're quite fresh and they should still hold all their charge. So on Hikoki's website, they do say this can shoot 700 nails per charge. So the way I'm going to accurately count this test is just count how many racks of nails we go through. Each rack holds 40 nails. So I'm just going to count the racks, multiply it by 40 at the end, and we'll see if we can reach that 700 figure. In this test, I am going to be using 75mm nails, but I don't think it will make a difference if you use 90mm, 75 or 50mm. So there's no option at all to reduce or increase the power that the gun shoots at, but we can adjust the depth of the nail by moving this dial here, which pulls the teeth forward and back, which influences how deep the nail goes into the timber. Since the only thing we're moving is the teeth, every time the gun goes to shoot, it's going to be using the same amount of power to push that pin forward. So that's why there shouldn't be a difference if we're using 90mm nails, 50mm nails, or in this case, 75mm nails. Sweet, that's all the framing done for today. I've been doing a mark every time I've changed the racks of nails in this gun. We've gone through 520 nails, plus half a rack there. We're probably looking at 540 nails shot so far. I just went to put the gun away and look what I noticed. Flushing low battery. But since the battery is almost dead, I'm just gonna start shooting these offcuts together and we'll just be able to find out right now how many nails one battery can shoot. That's a rack. That's 560 nails so far. That's just gone through another rack. That's 600 nails shot. Yeah, I would have thought it'd be a bit closer to running out of battery because that's flashing red on us. Let's keep going. This is a joke. 640 nails. It's still flashing red. Honestly, if I thought I was going to shoot this many nails, I would have called it quits and kept going tomorrow. 680 nails. I don't know if I keep going. I feel so bad now just wasting nails for no reason at all. Shooting blocks for no purpose. I thought we were going to be shooting about 10 nails and the battery would be depleted. It's still on 2 bars. One thing I've noticed though is every time the Hikoki gun dies, the battery still says that there's 2 bars of charge. It always dies on 2 bars of charge. So I can't really trust that at all. I think we're in too deep, we just got to keep going. That's exactly 720 nails. It's not shooting, but it might just be out of nails. We got there. 720 nails shot. Luckily the camera's okay after that fall. Hikoki did say that one battery can shoot 700 nails. We got 20 more than that. But the one thing that I didn't show and didn't talk about in that test is the amount of misfires we had. So obviously all I did was count as many nails we went through. I didn't count every single time the gun fired. In that test, I'm gonna guess that we had about 50 misfires. I mean, 50 misfires is huge, but we will touch on that a little bit later because there might be a way to fix that. What we could see though during those last few tests is the power behind this gun. The power and the speed when I was just shooting those blocks together. Obviously they're both just 9045 pine, so I've also tested this on a prefab frame I was doing earlier this week. This is a new prefab frame we're going to be doing. We're going to spend the next few weeks here. So judging by all the steel here, yes it is a double story build, but the best part is there's actually going to be a rooftop balcony on top of it too, which is going to be really cool when we get there. But with the Hikoki, the one thing I want to test right now is its power shooting through these double LVLs. I hate it's the thing that we actually have to turn these guns on, and once that's on, which I think it is now, it's hard to see those lights, we can hold that and turn that to bump fire mode. For this test, we've also got a fully charged battery. There's a few heads just sticking out. Overall though, that's pretty good. Got some double F17 studs here, so we'll try the same thing. A few misfires, and I don't know if you can really tell from the camera, but a lot of these nails have angled down severely. I can see from the heads that there's a lot facing down that way. Some heads haven't gone in. One thing that concerns me the most though is how the nails seem to go into the timber a different way from where I'm holding the gun. Almost seems like sometimes it shoots, and as the nail comes out, it just bends down and goes down on an angle. Notice that happened for the last few weeks. I'd be shooting nails, and they'd come out of the gun, they'd shoot lower than where the teeth are, and they'd kind of shoot out and skew down sideways. Overall, I do want to say though that I think the gun's really good for shooting through that strong timber, the F17, the LVL hardwood timber. And it's also good at doing that at a fast pace using that bump fire mode. As I did say in the start of the video though, battery guns kind of go one way of being powerful and heavy, or not powerful and light enough to use. This is definitely on the heavier side. I did a quick Google search then, and this actually weighs slightly more than the Milwaukee gun. But my personal preference is the Hikoki over the Milwaukee. Even though it does weigh more, I feel like the weight's more well distributed, making it easier to hold and lift up, whereas the Milwaukee is lighter, but the weight's all to one side, just making the gun feel out of balance and a bit of a workout to hold straight. Something else that's very important with battery nail guns, and just any nail gun in particular, is its teeth. The ability for the teeth to grab onto timber, grip onto timber, and skew those nails in. So the first day I bought this gun, I was having a lot of trouble with skewing nails. You can't really skew nails sideways. You're gonna have to twist it and use the top of the teeth to grip on the timber and skew a nail that way. We can see with the tip of the gun, the top of it sticks out furthest, and that's a point that needs to grip on the timber first to skew a nail. So I have become used to it, but one of the problems there already is holding the gun that way is so much easier than twisting it slightly to get the teeth into the timber. I can live with that, but the biggest problem is that the teeth of this gun is actually quite stiff. You need a fair bit of pressure to push it back, which is fine when you're shooting straight, but when you're skewing into timbers, you need to have an extra hand to really hold the timber in place. Now these rafters I was shooting in at the start of the battery test, I believe I'd be able to do that all by myself with a PAS load. I'd be able to use one hand to hold the timber, and I'd be able to hold it in place for my PAS load to grip on with the teeth and skew it. I can't do it with the Hikoki, because if I hold the timber with one hand, I'll push this against the timber to push the teeth back, and the amount of force that I'll need to push so that the teeth come back will be too much where the timber would actually move off its mark. And now onto the biggest problem about this tool, that's the misfires. So I said in the battery endurance test, we had about 50 misfires. One thing you would notice is at the end, when we're going through those last 100 nails, trying to get the battery to die, I was shooting downwards and there wasn't a single misfire there at all. What causes the misfires is a clip right here. The misfires happen when it's actually pushing the nails all the way up, so there's not a nail behind the pin ready to get shot out. One way to combat this is just having another gun against that clip, applying pressure to it, and you will never have a misfire. Another way to get around that is if you're shooting down, gravity helps that clip slide forward, and you typically never have a misfire that way either. Now the one time you don't want to misfire though, is when you're using the gun above your head, holding a beam or a truss in place, and you're trying to shoot it perfectly to its mark. And that's the exact type of task where the gun will misfire. I had an absolute nightmare trying to laminate a lot of these beams and skew a lot of them together. Six shots for one nail. For the most part, I had to resolve into using it with two hands, which should not be a thing when you're using a battery framer. It does help a little bit with the weight, but there will be way too many times where you need that extra hand to hold something. Before filming this, I did make a poll asking about any questions or anything about this gun. And there was a comment, and it is a very true comment, that you can continuously go through and lubricate the magazine. You can lubricate this clip here, and that should be all that you need to do to keep it moving and pushing those nails so you don't have a misfire. I do believe that will solve the problem for a period of time at least anyway. I've had this for 2, maybe 3 months, and I think it's way too fresh to already have that problem with the clip. Moving on from the misfires, I'm going to talk about the rafter hook. Something I haven't cared about too much until I bought the DeWalt gun, which has that small rafter hook, and I actually broke a gun because it fell off my tool belt and it hit the ground and broke. This thing is awesome. You can see it's open right now, and that's wide enough so I can hook it over a 90mm wall. And on the contrary, I can spin it around. It's got a nice secure fit in there that can go into my tool belt. And even better is that it's close to the magazine, meaning the walls of my tool belt will go in there, and it pretty much locks it in place so it can't move around. But the only downside I've got to say about this gun is when you do open it up that way, it is wide enough to sit over a double truss, a double rafter or a wall. 9 times out of 10, you only want it to be hooking over a 35 or 45mm piece of timber, being a rafter or a truss. This will still do it, but obviously it's just going to fall to the side a bit, and it's just going to sit a little bit more onto the edge of the rafter hook. It's going to be a little bit less secure, so if you knock it, it could fall off. I do have to say though that this is the best rafter hook I've used on any nail gun. So I think that covers everything that I want to talk about with this nail gun. I'm slowly making my way into owning every single nail gun, and I want to do an ultimate comparison with every nail gun on the market. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in watching that video.